My girlfriend texted, "I'm using our savings to bail my ex out of jail. Just so you know." I replied coolly, "All right, do what you need to do." The next day, I withdrew my half and booked a one-way ticket. When she realized she only had enough left to cover the bail bondsman's fee, she called, and what she said next made my jaw drop. I'm 35 years old, and until last week, I thought I was in a stable relationship. Megan and I had been together for 4 years. We moved in together after year 2, split everything down the middle, and had a joint savings account we both contributed to equally. The plan was to eventually use it for a down payment on a house. We'd saved up about $24,000 total, $12,000 each. Every month, we'd each deposit $500. It was our future, our shared dream of homeownership, something we'd talked about over Sunday morning coffee and late-night conversations about where we wanted to settle down. Thursday afternoon, I was at my desk working on quarterly reports when my phone buzzed. A text from Megan. "I'm using our savings to bail my ex out of jail. Just so you know." I read it 3 times. Then I set my phone down and stared at my computer screen for a solid minute, not really seeing anything. The words on the spreadsheet in front of me blurred together. Her ex, Tyler, the guy she dated for 6 years before me, the guy who she'd sworn was completely in the past when we first started dating, the guy whose name still came up occasionally when she'd had too much wine and got nostalgic about her 20s, the guy whose Facebook photos she'd never untagged herself from. I picked up my phone and typed back, "All right, do what you need to do." I didn't call, didn't ask questions, didn't send angry emojis or demand an explanation, just sent that and went back to work, my hands surprisingly steady on the keyboard even though my heart was hammering against my ribcage. She texted back 15 minutes later, "Thank you for understanding. It's complicated, but he really needs help right now. I'll explain everything when I get home." I didn't respond. I just sat there, feeling this weird calm settle over me. It was like watching a car crash in slow motion. You know it's happening. You know it's going to be bad. But there's this strange detachment that comes with inevitability. At 5 p.m., I left work and drove straight to our bank. I walked up to the counter and asked to withdraw $12,000 from our joint savings account. The teller, a middle-aged woman with reading glasses on a chain, asked if I wanted a cashier's check or cash. I said cash. She looked mildly concerned but processed it without comment, though I caught her exchanging a glance with her coworker. I didn't care. I walked out with a thick envelope and drove home. Then I went home, opened my laptop, and bought a one-way ticket to Denver. I'd lived there in my late 20s, still had friends there, always thought about going back. The mountains, the craft beer scene, the general vibe of the city, I'd missed it. The flight left Saturday morning at 6 a.m., cost me $340, worth every penny. Megan came home around 7 p.m. She looked exhausted, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, still wearing her scrubs from the hospital where she worked as a radiology tech. She had that particular kind of tiredness that comes from emotional labor, not physical work. "Hey," she said, dropping her bag by the door with a heavy thud. "Thanks again for being cool about this. Tyler's situation is really messed up. His bail was set at $15,000. I had to go through a bondsman, so it was only $1,500 out of pocket. But still, I felt like I had no choice. I was sitting on the couch with my laptop, pretending to browse job listings. When's he getting out? Tomorrow morning, probably. The bondsman said it takes a few hours to process everything. There's paperwork and verification and all this bureaucratic stuff. What did he do? She hesitated, biting her lower lip the way she always did when she was uncomfortable. DUI, third offense. He wrapped his car around a telephone pole on Highway 50. Nobody was hurt, thank God, but the judge wasn't lenient. Tyler's had 2 prior DUIs, so this time they really came down hard. And you felt responsible for bailing him out? His family won't help him anymore. They cut him off after the second DUI. He's been struggling, Jake. He lost his job 6 months ago. He's living in some terrible apartment, and he's been trying to get sober but keeps slipping. I couldn't just let him sit in jail. We have history. I nodded slowly. You used our savings. I know, but it's just temporary. He's going to pay me back once he gets his tax refund in a few months. He promised. He even signed a paper saying he'd pay me back with interest. His tax refund. Yes. He's getting like $3,000 back. He showed me his W-2 from his last job. I closed my laptop. Okay. She looked relieved, her shoulders visibly relaxing. I'm glad you're not making this a big thing. I was worried you'd be upset. I know it's weird, but Tyler and I have history. 7 years of my life. I can't just turn my back on him when he's at rock bottom. That's not who I am. Sure, I said, standing up. I'm tired. I'm going to bed early. She kissed my cheek. I didn't pull away, but I didn't lean into it either. Her lips felt foreign on my skin. Want me to make dinner first? She asked. I ate already, I lied. I hadn't eaten anything since lunch, but my stomach was too twisted to handle food. She shrugged and headed to the kitchen. I heard her microwaving leftovers while I went to the bedroom. I barely slept that night. I just lay there in the dark, listening to Megan's breathing beside me, thinking about how 4 years had apparently meant less to her than whatever obligation she felt toward a guy who'd already burned every bridge in his life. I thought about all the times she'd mentioned Tyler casually, always framing him as just an old friend, or someone I used to know. I thought about the time, 8 months ago, when she'd gone to his birthday party without inviting me, saying it would be weird if I came along. All the little red flags I'd ignored because I loved her. Around 3 a.m., I got up and started packing. 2 suitcases and a backpack. Clothes, toiletries, my laptop, important documents, a few books, the watch my grandfather left me. I moved quietly, methodically, like I was preparing for a business trip. Megan slept through all of it, her face peaceful in the dim light filtering through the curtains. Friday morning, I got up at 5 a.m. while Megan was still asleep. I'd already loaded everything into my car the night before, making 2 trips down to the parking garage while she snored softly. I left my key to the apartment on the kitchen counter with a note that said, "Took my half of the savings. Good luck with everything. Short, simple, no explanations needed." Then I drove to a 24-hour diner on the edge of town, the kind with red vinyl booths and waitresses who call you Hon. I ordered coffee and sat there until 9 a.m. when the bank opened, then went and opened a new checking account at a different bank across town and deposited the $12,000. The banker, a young guy with an eager smile, congratulated me on the deposit, like I'd accomplished something. I just nodded. My phone started ringing at 10:17 a.m. Megan. I didn't answer. She called 6 more times in rapid succession. Then the texts started flooding in. "Jake, where are you? Did you take the money? Call me. Now. This isn't funny. I'm freaking out here. Please respond." I silenced my phone and ordered more coffee, plus a stack of pancakes I barely touched. "Update 1 at 11:30 a.m., she called from the hospital landline. I answered because I figured she'd just keep trying, and I didn't want her getting in trouble at work for excessive personal phone use. "What the hell, Jake?" Her voice was shaking, oscillating between anger and panic. "You took all the money?" "I took my half," I said calmly, stirring sugar into my coffee. 12,000, same amount I put in over the last 2 years. "I needed that money." "For what?" "You already bailed Tyler out. The bondsman only took $1,500. I was going to use the rest to help Tyler get back on his feet. He needs a new car since his got totaled. He needs to pay his lawyer for the DUI case. He needs to cover his rent for a few months until he finds work. He needs—" I actually laughed. Couldn't help it. The absurdity of it hit me all at once. "You were going to use our savings, money we saved for a house, for our future, to bankroll your ex's entire life? He's in trouble, Jake. He has nobody. His parents won't talk to him. His brother blocked his number. His friends are all sick of his drinking. I'm literally the only person he has left. And that's my problem, how? She was quiet for a moment. I could hear hospital sounds in the background, beeping machines, muffled PA announcements. Then, quieter. Where are you? Leaving. Leaving? What does that mean? It means I'm done, Megan. You made your choice. You chose him over us. I didn't choose him. I was just helping a friend in need. That's what good people do. You don't bail friends out of jail with joint savings and not even ask your partner first. You don't plan to spend thousands more on someone else's life without a conversation, without even a heads up. You sent me a text, like you were letting me know you'd be late for dinner. You chose him. You're overreacting. This is insane. Maybe, but I'm still leaving. Where are you going? Denver. Denver? She sounded genuinely shocked, like I'd said Mars. When? My flight's tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. You can't just leave. What about your job? What about the apartment? What about us? I'll figure out the job. The apartment's in both our names. You can take it over or break the lease. And there is no us. Not anymore. You're doing this because I helped Tyler? Are you serious right now? I'm doing this because you showed me exactly where I rank in your life. And it's not first. It's not even second. I'm somewhere below your ex-boyfriend who's on his third DUI. That's not fair. Watch me. I hung up. She called back immediately. I declined it. She called 8 more times over the next hour. Text messages poured in, ranging from apologetic to furious to desperate. I turned my phone off and paid my bill. I spent Friday afternoon at my buddy Marcus's place. He lived about an hour outside the city in a small house with a big yard, worked from home doing IT consulting. I'd texted him Thursday night asking if I could crash for a night. He said yes, no questions asked. That's the kind of friend he was. You look like you're running from something, he said when I showed up on his doorstep with my suitcases. More like running towards something, I said, or away from something. I don't know yet. He handed me a beer, some local IPA from a brewery we used to go to together. Woman trouble? Is it that obvious? It's always woman trouble or money trouble, sometimes both. Both, I confirmed, taking a long drink. He didn't pry, just let me sit on his couch and decompress while he worked on his laptop at the kitchen table. We ordered pizza for dinner, watched a basketball game neither of us cared about. Normal things, easy things, things that reminded me life could be simple. Around 6 p.m. I turned my phone back on. 43 missed calls, 28 texts, 3 voicemails. I listened to one voicemail. Megan, crying. Jake, please come home. I'm sorry. I didn't realize this would upset you so much. I thought you understood. Tyler's not a threat to us. He's just someone I used to care about who needs help right now. Please call me back. I love you. We can figure this out. I'll tell Tyler to find another way. Just please don't leave. I deleted it without listening to the others. Update 2. Saturday morning, Marcus drove me to the airport at 4:30 a.m. I'd slept maybe 3 hours running on adrenaline and spite and too much coffee. You sure about this? He asked as we pulled up to departures. The terminal lit up against the pre-dawn darkness. No, I said honestly, but I'm doing it anyway. Good man. Sometimes the right decision feels like the wrong one until later. I grabbed my bags from the trunk, thanked him for everything, and headed inside. The airport was surprisingly busy for early Saturday morning, families heading on vacation, business travelers, people starting adventures or running from something like me. I checked my bags, went through security, and sat at my gate drinking terrible airport coffee that somehow tasted perfect in the moment. I was on my second cup when my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered without thinking. Jake? A man's voice, rough, uncertain, slightly raspy like he'd been smoking. Who's this? Tyler. Megan gave me your number. Hope that's okay. I should have hung up immediately. But I was curious what the man who'd just imploded my relationship had to say. What do you want? Look, man, I just wanted to say thanks for not giving Megan a hard time about helping me out. I know it's weird, an ex and all, but I really appreciate it. Not many guys would be cool with their girlfriend doing something like this. I laughed, sharp and bitter. You have no idea what you're talking about. What? Megan used our joint savings to bail you out without asking me, without even discussing it. Then she planned to spend more of it, thousands more, to get you back on your feet. I took my half and left. So if you're calling to thank me, you're about 3 days too late and completely misinformed. Silence. Long, heavy silence. I could hear him breathing. She didn't tell me that, he finally said, his voice smaller. Of course she didn't. She probably told you it was her money, right? Just her helping out an old friend? Yeah, she said she had some savings she could spare. It was our money. We were saving for a house, our future. More silence. Then, man, I'm sorry. I didn't know. If I'd known, I wouldn't have let her. You wrapped your car around a pole drunk for the 3rd time, I interrupted, my voice cold. You don't get to act like you're a good guy who would have done the right thing. You're a mess. And Megan chose to prioritize your mess over our relationship. That's on both of you. I'm trying to get my life together. Good luck with that. I hung up and blocked the number. My flight boarded 20 minutes later. I settled into my window seat, watched the sun rise over the tarmac, and felt something close to peace as the plane lifted off. Update 3. I've been in Denver for 2 weeks now. I'm staying with my old college roommate Ben and his wife Alicia. They've been incredible. Gave me their spare room, haven't asked too many questions, just let me exist while I figure things out. Alicia even cleared out space in their garage for the boxes I had Marcus ship to me. I've had 3 calls with Megan since I left. She cycled through every emotion in the book: anger, guilt, confusion, desperation, bargaining. The first call, 2 days after I landed, she accused me of being selfish and immature. Said I was running away from problems instead of facing them like an adult. Said real relationships require sacrifice and compromise, and I'd failed the test. The second call, 5 days later, she admitted she might have handled things poorly, but insisted I was overreacting by leaving the state. She suggested couples therapy, promised she'd set boundaries with Tyler, said we could rebuild trust. The third call, yesterday, she cried and begged me to come home. Her voice was wrecked, raw from crying. She said Tyler had disappeared again, violated his bail conditions by missing a court-ordered AA meeting, and now she was on the hook for the full $15,000 bail amount because he'd skipped. The bondsman was threatening legal action, putting liens on her assets, possibly garnishing her wages. I don't have that kind of money, Jake. I have maybe $4,000 left after bills and rent. The bondsman is threatening to sue me. My credit's going to be destroyed. I don't know what to do. Please, I'm begging you. I felt a weird mix of satisfaction and pity. Mostly satisfaction. That's rough, I said, looking out Ben's window at the mountains in the distance. Can you help me? I'll pay you back, I promise. I'll do whatever you want. No. Jake, please. You made this mess, Megan. You chose to tie yourself financially to someone who's proven over and over that he's unreliable. You didn't ask me. You didn't consider me. You just decided. Now you're dealing with the consequences. I thought you loved me. I did. But love doesn't mean I have to be your safety net when you make terrible decisions, and it definitely doesn't mean I have to fund your ex-boyfriend's disaster of a life. She hung up on me that time. A few days ago, I got a message from Megan's sister, Claire. We'd always gotten along well. She was a paralegal, sharp and practical. Hey Jake, I heard what happened. For what it's worth, I think Megan screwed up big time. She's been talking to our mom about how unfair you're being, but I saw the text she sent you. She literally told you after she'd already committed the money. That's not how partnerships work. That's not how respect works. Anyway, hope you're doing okay. Denver's lucky to have you. I appreciated that more than I expected. It was nice to know I wasn't crazy for feeling betrayed. I've started looking for jobs here seriously. Denver's expensive, but I've got enough saved to float me for a few months while I figure it out. I've had 2 interviews already, one for a project management position at a tech startup downtown, another for a consulting firm in Boulder. The startup interview went really well. The hiring manager and I talked for 90 minutes, way over the scheduled time, and he walked me around the office introducing me to people like I'd already gotten the job. Yesterday, I got a final text from Megan. I hope you're happy. Tyler's back in jail on a felony warrant. I'm broke. My credit's ruined because I can't pay the bondsman and they're reporting it to collections. I had to borrow money from my parents to cover rent. And you just left like I meant nothing to you. Like 4 years meant nothing. I'll never forgive you for abandoning me when I needed you most. I stared at that message for a long time, sitting in Ben's backyard with a beer while the sun set behind the Rockies. Then I blocked her number. Final update. It's been 6 weeks. I got the job, working in project management for the tech startup downtown. The pay's actually better than what I was making before, and the team's solid. Young, energetic people who care about what they're building. I'm starting to feel like myself again, or maybe a new version of myself. I signed a lease on a 1-bedroom apartment in Capitol Hill yesterday. It's small, but mine. Hardwood floors, exposed brick, big windows that let in incredible light. No shared accounts, no joint decisions. Just me and my choices. I heard through mutual friends that Megan moved back in with her parents after she couldn't afford the apartment alone. She's making payments to the bail bondsman on a settlement plan and apparently working overtime at the hospital to cover it. She'll be paying it off for the next 3 years. Tyler's still in jail, facing additional charges for violating his bail conditions and for an outstanding warrant from another county that nobody knew about. Turns out he had more secrets than anyone realized. Part of me feels bad for her. She genuinely thought she was doing the right thing, helping someone she'd once cared about. But the truth is, she chose him over me, over us, over our future. And that's something I couldn't come back from, even if she'd begged. Ben asked me the other day if I regretted leaving the way I did. No big confrontation, no dramatics, just a quiet exit in the early morning. No, I told him. If I'd stayed and fought about it, she would have made it about me being controlling or jealous or not understanding. This way, she has to sit with the reality that her decision had consequences. I'm not the bad guy. I'm just the guy who respected himself enough to walk away. Last weekend, Alicia introduced me to one of her co-workers. Her name's Rachel. She works in graphic design, has a laugh that makes everyone around her smile. We got coffee at this place in Rhino that serves these incredible lavender lattes. It was nice, easy, natural. No history, no complications, no ex-boyfriends in jail. I don't know if it'll go anywhere, but it reminded me that there's life after Megan. Better life, probably. I still think about her sometimes, usually late at night when I can't sleep. Wonder if she realizes what she lost. Wonder if Tyler ever thanked her for destroying her relationship to save him, or if he even thinks about her now that he's locked up again. Wonder if she tells her parents the real story or some edited version where I'm the villain. Then I remember it doesn't matter. I'm in Denver. I've got a new job, a new apartment, and a future that doesn't include bailing out someone else's ex or playing second fiddle to someone's past. That's enough for me.